You're going to sit in my lap. Lucky little bird. All right, today we're going to talk about to clip or not to clip. Clipping the feathers on a wing of a bird means that the bird cannot fly up and away and hurt itself or other things. And since I get calls all the time from people whose bird only flew away one time, I feel very strongly that birds that are pet birds that are out of the cage should have feathers trimmed on one wing. When you think about why birds fly, they fly for two reasons. They fly to get food and they fly to avoid predators. Hopefully, since you have a pet, you're taking care of both of those issues, and so the bird doesn't really need to fly. Because this bird is 8 weeks old, even though it looks like a full-grown African gray, it's still a baby. It's still being hand-fed, which is why it's trying to figure out why my hand is not feeding it, because that's where food mostly comes from when we're hand-feeding baby birds. It has never flown, and while some people prefer to wait until a bird flies the first time, I would be happy to share with you the story of the baby hyacinth macaw that flew away on its first flight. That owner was very upset. So, having said that, I believe in trimming the feathers on the wing of any bird that's out of the cage, and we're going to show you how to do it today. The first thing to know is that there is a line on the wing that tells you where to trim the feathers. And if we spread our little African gray's wing, you'll be able to see it, because there are long feathers and they are covered at the base by shorter feathers called covert feathers. The feathers farthest out on the wing are the primary feathers. They're attached to your fingers, essentially, since a wing is a modified hand. The second group of feathers, baby birds have toenails that stick in everything. The second row of feathers are the secondary feathers, and they're covered at the base by the secondary coverts, and then closer into the body are the tertiaries. With a bird like an African gray that is not a bird that flies like a cockatiel, wild and crazy and all the time, there's not a need to trim quite as many feathers as you would on a cockatiel. If I'm trimming the wing on a cockatiel, I'll often do primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries, using the covered feathers as a guideline. And it makes it very easy when you spread the wing to see where you cut. So we're going to take our scissors, and any sharp scissors is fine, and we spread the wing. If it's not a baby bird that's a big lump like this one, what I normally would do is hold the bird down by the neck on my leg and spread the wing across my knee. Because this little bird is so big and such a baby, what we're going to do is just spread the wing out, and be sure to spread the wing all the way out so that you don't have an artificial line. And we're going to clip right below the covered feathers. That's the guideline we're going to use, and we're going to go on all the primary feathers on the wing at the level of the coverts. Were it a cockatiel, I would go all the way back here with the trim. Because this is a baby bird, its feathers will continue to grow for another couple of weeks now, and so we may need to trim a second time before it's fully grown, because they will get enough lift from that feather that has extended out. There's always questions about the blood feather. Well, every feather is a blood feather when it's growing in. And because the way the wing is designed ensures that by the time the feather reaches the end of those covered feathers, there's no more blood supply to any of these feathers, even though there still is at the base. So if I'm using the covered feathers again for a guideline, I will never have to worry about a feather bleeding when I'm trimming the feathers on a wing. I trim just one side. I don't trim both sides for two reasons. First of all, if you are trying to walk and you're short, it's a lot easier than if you only have one leg. It's my feeling, and I've seen this with the birds that we've dealt with, that if one wing is trimmed and the bird feels off balance when it flaps its wings, it's much less likely to try to fly. That doesn't apply to cockatiels. Cockatiels will try to fly anyway. But most birds, when they are off balance, are uncomfortable. And so they will be much, much less apt to fly, hit glass, go out the door, and injure themselves. So that's why at Animal Exchange we routinely trim just one wing. You can do wing trimming at your house with no problem. If you'd like to have us show you how to do it, we'll be happy to do that. We trim birds all the time. Sometimes people have come in 30 and 40 times to have the same bird trimmed, even though we show them each time how to do it. And that's perfectly okay. People are concerned that the bird will be angry at them. Well, does this one look angry? If you explain to a bird you're doing it for its own well-being, they understand. So please consider every pet bird that you have that's out of the cage should have its wing trimmed. And now you know how to do it, and hopefully you will have a very long and happy life with a little bird like this who should be with you for about 60 years. Thank you for visiting our wing trimming demonstration, and we hope that you have a wonderful life with your bird.